Monday, December the 18th. If you all will please stand for Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. Be seated. The agenda, there's no additions to the agenda today, so I need a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve agenda.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for the approval of the agenda. All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. At this time, we're open for public comments. If anybody would like to speak, I haven't seen anybody sign up yet, but you're certainly free to speak right now. So if you would like to, come before the stand, please. Hearing nobody and seeing nobody coming, I'll go ahead and close the public comment section. We'll move right along to the consent agenda. Need a motion. Does anybody have any questions about the consent agenda as presented? If not, we need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Got a motion and a second for the consent agenda. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Vote. Thank you. Presentations to the board. We have several this morning from the departments, and we'll start out with the audit presentation of Mr. Scott Wickman. Always glad to hear from you right now.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
I know everyone's ready for Christmas, and go ahead and make you a brief presentation. We just wrapped up the audit here end of November and got it presented to the state and LGC. So all that is done, and here to give you all the good news and results of that information. So hopefully you've got a handout in front of you, also up on the screen here, a brief presentation. Information's on the front of it. Later on, feel free to reach out. Go through the audit report briefly here with this slide here on the overview of the audit statement. The independent auditor's report is the opinion on the financial statements. That refers to the numbers. You all received a opinion. That means the financial statements as presented. After having records that we're able to present accurate financial statements. So clean, good report there. Will present a additional paragraph for implementation of GASB 96 for SBITAs, or subscription-based IT arrangements. We did evaluate that and did not find any significant items, so that was not implemented for you all, but if we do find some in the future, they would be recorded. The next section is the management analysis. This is a good brief summary of the audit. A lot of the audit is on an annual basis and does not provide data. Together to give you an idea of where you are financially. Exhibit 1 is on the full accrual basis of accounting, and so that takes everything into account, and that's on page 15 of the audit report. But that is your assets plus your deferred outflows, less your liabilities, less your deferred inflows for net position. So that's a full accrual, large picture accounting, and that's broken into several categories: net investment and capital assets, restrictions, and unrestricted. The county was able to present positive numbers in each of those categories, including about $500,000 unrestricted. Exhibit 3 is a little bit more zoned in, so it includes the general fund and more of a short-term view of accounting. So it has the cash plus short-term receivables, less short-term payables for fund balance. And the county was able to present about $11.5 million of unassigned fund balance, so a strong position there as well. Looking at the statement of cash flows for your landfill fund, the fund did generate a positive cash flow this year, so a good trend there for that landfill fund. But Exhibit 9 is a good exhibit to review for the activity of the landfill fund. Moving towards the back of the report, we did have several other reports be issued. The report on gas, which is our report on internal controls and compliance. We do have 3 findings that we reported, similar to prior years. We have a finding for segregation of duties. The county has been working to implement a good system of checks and balances, but unfortunately they've had a lot of turnover from year to year, and getting a trained, consistent staff would be a big step towards that. So I have seen improvements, but continuing to get someone and keep them in those roles would be a big step towards that. Also, want to make sure that the bank reconciliations are reconciled timely and reviewed accurately. I have again seen improvements there. We're very close now. I do think that part of the challenge of an audit is that you get to the end of the year and then you kind of get those information of recommendations and ideas, and it may take some time to clean them up. So I've seen improvements there, and I do hope that this might be the last year we see that finding. So I think I've seen a lot of improvement. I think we'll get there.
I'd like to have a copy of what he's looking at. I ain't got it here.
The full audit report.
Can I get a copy of that sometime?
That's not it.
Oh, okay.
And so continuing, those were the findings that were reported, the same that had been there prior year. But I have seen significant improvement, and I do think with getting some stability in that office would help April to get those items cleaned up for future years. And again, I know you didn't have that in front of you, but my contact is on the front of the handout. So if you do have questions, once you do have that, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to answer questions. Moving forward, in the handout you do have in front of you, we have 5-year trend information for the general fund. As you can see, over the 5 years, the total revenues have grown at almost 6.5% per year, so really strong growth, particularly with the other taxes, or the state taxes. Local sales tax was a big driver of that increase. You also see some increase for intergovernmental, as you all have received additional grants, likely related to COVID funding. I do expect that to slow down here, so you may see a little decline in your grant funding availability going forward, and may be required to fund a little more locally. On the next page, you have a 5-year trend of the expenditures. You can see that the operating expenditures have grown at less than 1% per year, so that's a credit to the staff for doing a great job of maintaining expenditures at a reasonable level and ensuring you're staying within your budget and not going over there. Again, that probably will be a challenge with today's inflationary market, so I just want to point that out, that you're doing great, but got to make sure you're staying on top of that. Another important number across the bottom is the fund balance. You can see that the fund balance has grown at 46% per year, which is a very strong number, but from where you were in 2019, it was needed. You've gone from a position that was not so great to a very strong fund balance, so credit to building that reserve so you have the ability to monitor that inflation as that comes forward. On the next page, you have a chart that shows where the revenues are coming from. You can see a large portion of those are from taxes. And the second largest portion is from other taxes, which does include that local sales tax. On the next page, you have a similar chart from where funds have come from to where you can see that a large portion of the expenses are for public safety. On the next page, you have the review of county reserves. Again, I mentioned fund balance is the important measurement for how you all are doing financially. You can see the improvement here in the cash balances and the fund balances, and the percentage of available funds as a percentage of expenditures and transfers. So the LGC recommends a minimum of 20%. It says the median for counties your size is about 39%, and you all are at 63%. So you have improved substantially and looking very, very strong there. So. On the next slide, we have reported findings and recommendations. I mentioned those briefly already, but again, I have seen a lot of improvement there, and I think that having some stability in that finance office would help get those things cleared up. Similar slides last year. Last year, the LGC required you all write a response to those findings, so I'll let the slide in here to remind you all that you all do need to do that. And you have 60 days to get them a response. Upcoming standards. The GASB standards have been flying at us. I know they implemented about 10 standards in the last 3 years. It does appear to be slowing down a little bit. I think there was kind of a ramp up. They delayed a few during COVID, and then they all were implemented about the same time. Now we're slowing down a little. Into play are these three here, the omnibus. Significant impact for you all. Compensated absences could impact the calculation for your sick leave a little bit, but it wouldn't be anything super significant. But overall, the audit process went really well. We do have remote access to your software to generate reports as needed. The staff does a great job of sending us things we need. Then we'll send a list of items we want on site, and so when we come down here on site and look at those items, the staff did a great job of getting that together for us. A lot of places, it seems, are a little bit more centralized, so it takes a lot more different departments to work with me to get the audit results done, and I appreciate all the departments getting me the various grants and everything that I look for, and get everything reconciled in a timely manner. So the audit process went really well. I have seen significant improvement in the processes you have here, the documentation you have here, and the financial position of the county is much, much better. Looking good. Any questions?
I think there'd be a lot of questions, but, it takes time for us to go through this.
Absolutely.
And we've been in discussions, I think most of us with April and Michael, and just look at where we are today compared to where we were in 2018, 19.
Right.
It's quite an improvement.
For sure.
John, questions or comments?
No, but I would like to see the television turned on over there to my right so that the audience can see these figures. Whenever we get a chance to brag a little bit, I'd like for everybody to be able to see it.
We are experiencing technical difficulties, Commissioner Irwin, so apologies.
This one's working
It
over
is
here.
on right here.
But
Yeah,
not
this
all of
one-
them can see it.
Yeah. Michelle, any questions, comments?
Good.
Greg?
I'd just like to have a copy of it.
Michael?
I don't have any questions. I have a comment.
Yeah.
You see the room packed today, which is something that unfortunately doesn't happen often. But the reason this room is packed is these are what makes this a reality. These are your team leaders. These are you people that are out there doing it. So the appreciation goes right out there. And I hope the board recognizes that and them for the efforts that they put forward.
I think, looking back, like I referred to, I think 2019, 18, that when we were presented with that letter from the state, that time we were in financial distress, really. And it wasn't just the finance department that came in. It's what Michael's alluding to, that was every department head in this county bought into what Michael had planned, what the board had planned, what April, they had worked and worked for at least a solid year trying to make some changes. And it wasn't just one person, it was the entire government of the county. Also, it was the people of the county. They knew that we had to make some changes. And some of them weren't popular at the time, but I think 99.9% of them turned out to be perfect. Michael, with his leadership, with the department heads buying into it, they proved that what he was attempting, what this board was attempting, this board and another board, was to get the county back on a financial track that was positive. And that's what everybody did. And you can't say enough about everybody, all the people that worked so hard to get this done. And I thank them, and I think the whole board thanks all of us for doing that. And
Absolutely.
you have to have a leader to do all this. Michael was leading the program, but he had good people, he had good ideas, and he was able to communicate those ideas to all the departments. And that's what got us where we are today.
I agree with that.
Any other comments? Give us a chance to look through this, and I'm sure we'll be talking to April and to Michael and Finance Department about some of these questions that we may have in the future.
Sure, and yeah, my contact's on the front of that, and then they obviously have my contacts, so if you have questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all.
Next, the April Ham on the finance updates.
We'll have a copy of your boxes today, posted on the website. Our audits, so your monthly financial report, everyone should have a copy. I handed it out earlier. Year-to-date revenue, $11,976,953.06. Year-to-date expenditures, $9,288,409.73. And the approved budget, $20,083,788. We're 46% of the way into the year for the budget. Year-to-date expenditures represents that 46%, and year-to-date revenue represents 60%. Bank balance as of this morning, $10,613,827.98 in the checking account, $12,769,622.61 in the savings account, for a total of $23,383,450.59. And then you have your previous year bank balance for 2 years. The net financials for this year, $2,688,543.33. And now we can publish that audited fund balance from fiscal year 23, $12,939,320. Can I answer any questions about the financials?
Any questions or comments? Go ahead, April.
Okay. Your second page is the sales tax report. Year-to-date, local option sales tax, $468,015.85, as compared to last December, $463,979.76. So we did gain just a little bit of ground as compared to last year for this month.
How come we quit getting month to month, like this December to last December? You used to get a sales tax report on.
That's your comparison right below. The top is this year, $468,015.85 for this current year. A year ago, December, $463,979.76.
That's how much sales tax we took in last year in December for this year.
Well, that was last year at this time.
Total
How
year to
much?
date.
Yes,
I
year to
want to see
date.
a copy month to month, what we done, like we used to get, December last year, December this year. I'd like to see that somewhere. Give me a copy somewhere.
Okay, but that's representative in this report right here.
To ago, it used to break down on here to show how much we took in last December to this December.
I can get you a month-to-month report, that's no problem.
I'd like to have one in.
Okay. And then the last page is just the quarter cents local option. Year-to-date for this fiscal year, from July to December, $133,347.89. And I did run this report so you could see what was brought in for December, which is actually October's numbers, $34,132.65. So can I answer any questions about sales tax?
Questions or comments? If not, Mr. Carter, any comments? If not, thank you, April.
Okay. And I'll have that report in everybody's box today. Thank you.
Next is facilities update. David Spicer.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
Board. Certainly a facilities update. Now, the administration building, everything is pretty much in good working order. We are in the process of meeting with a representative from Sherwin-Williams about the floor. So we're going to look at some options there and some new style flooring that they have come up with that is supposed to be real durable, so we're going to work on that. At the transfer facility, we have one load of scrap metal. Main. Thing. For the signs that go, that is placed for that, they've not yet been put on, nor has the vestibule been completed, so the floor needs to be finished there. But those items are things that's coming soon, we hope. At the fairgrounds, we've met with a contractor, met with them out there last week, one contractor, and the contractor is working on getting a price for the kitchen to provide meals for our jail. We're waiting on him to complete that. I also have contacted a second contractor who is going to come and meet with me out there as well to get additional pricing on that. We have most of the equipment that is going to be required. That equipment has been purchased as the board advised us to move forward with that, so that has been done, and it is stored at the fairgrounds. So it's already in the black building. It's just waiting on a place to install it. We have a price for a HVAC system. I'm still waiting on Blue Ridge Energy to meet with me out there. We're going to include in that HVAC system a price for running the gas lines for those units. So that would be a complete package then that way, instead of just a partial thing and have to pay for something else later. On the kitchen itself, I have contacted a contractor for the hood system. This would be a hood system for ventilation and fire suppression. So he is supposed to meet with me tomorrow from Wilkes Fire Systems. Price on the heating system and the price for the auxiliary kitchen, those will be written up and taken to the TDA to hopefully will get us some assistance. Randy is working on that, so I'm going to provide him with the prices and the estimates, and then he's going to take care of the grant for that. We did have a water leak at the concession stand this time. It did set the town's high water usage alarm off, so it was on a 2-inch line, so it was quite a bit of water come through that line. That was discovered on Tuesday. I know that during the course of the day on Tuesday it was not leaking, but then by that afternoon or that evening it had started leaking. But we got the water cut off quickly, and of course with a 2-inch line it's going to provide quite a bit of water through that line all at one time. So that has been fixed. It was on the town side of the meter, so that has been corrected. At the library, the sprinkler system, it's not down. It's just that it needs in need of some repair. So we had a new employee come to work this morning, and that's actually what he did for a living at the last job he was at. So I put him on that first thing this morning. So he's got that already fixed. So that's all good. There is some security issues there at the college that we have been discussing, and some corrections for those things, so that's to come as well. At the health department, most of the work has been completed for the renovations, so in that we look forward to that being completely done, and the health department being able to move along with their activities and their progress. So on the animal control, this month we had 13 that we assisted the Sheriff's Department, 3 dogs and livestock. We had 3 well checks. We had 5 cats and or dogs that was picked up, 11 that was running at large. We had 2 attacks but 0 bites. We had no traps. So we had 75 hours this time, 37 calls, and 445 miles traveled. So at this time then, I'll entertain any questions that you might have.
John, questions, comments? Michelle? Timmy?
None.
Greg? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Next is our year-end department reports. That's Michael Carter.
Chairman, I just wanted to lead into this. Everyone is now familiar with the process that we've put forward in having our departments come in at the end of December and provide basically a year-end report of their operations. And as you look out in the audience, we have several present today. We do have 2 that are not present that I'm aware of, and that is Sherry Dawson and Amy Lucas, but they will be at your January meeting to provide their presentations. But, you know, in department head meetings, we talk about podium time a lot. Well, today's everyone's podium time day, and some are more excited about standing there than others, I believe. But I believe that just comes with time. I think some have actually brought some help with them. So I guess they're going to share the load a little bit. But, you know, I want to say that I'm proud of these guys and gals, and so proud, I'll say this very quickly. There's 2 times that I have wore a tie in Alleghany County. The first time was my interview when you all selected me to come to work. And although you really can't see it because I've got one great beard going on today, this old boy does have a tie on today. So 2 times in Alleghany County I've got a tie on, and this is out of respect and appreciation for the guys and gals about to stand at that podium. They're up by name.
Okay, first we'll have Tiffany, you're up. Alleghany in motion.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here today to give the year-end report for Alleghany in Motion. This year, we have been able to provide Alleghany County citizens and visitors with medical, including Medicaid and Veteran Affairs, agency, elderly and disabled, rural general public transportation in and out of the county, along with county employment transportation. From January 1 to December 10th, we've provided 11,269 trips, with almost 50% of those being for medical appointments. We have spent 8,489 hours on the road, which is equal to 353.7 days, and that's 24 straight hours. We have traveled 216,665 miles, which is equal to 8.7 trips around the world at the equator. We've had one minor accident, and we have been awarded with several state and federal grants. We received $127,887 for the Rural Operating Assistance Program. This is what allows us to provide reduced fare transportation to the elderly and disabled medical appointments for employment, training, and rural general public trips. We received $97,604 for the 5311 Community Transportation Program for admin. This helps with 2.5 full-time employees, fringe benefits, and drug and alcohol testing. We received $322,000 for the 5311 Community Transportation Capital Program. This helped with the replacement of 2 high-top vans, 1 lift van, 1 minivan, and a replacement desk. We were also awarded $14,000 for the 5310 Elderly and Disabled Transportation Grant. This is what allows us to provide transportation in the county for the elderly and disabled at $1 per stop. Our total amount awarded for this year has been $561,491. Our Title VI was updated and approved. We had 2 full-time employees receive Passenger Assistant Safety and Sensitivity Trainer recertification, and this is so we can do our training in-house and we don't have to go outside. We've had 1 employee complete the drug and alcohol training, including reasonable suspicion determination, and this is required by the state. We upgraded all the camera systems on all of our vans and the software, and all of this has been possible because of our great staff at Alleghany in Motion, and that's made up of 4 full-time office staff, 3 full-time drivers, and 12 part-time drivers. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Just, could you explain what Title VI is?
The Title VI is, it has our safety into it, and that we will not discriminate and everybody can ride.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is communications, Daniel Roten.
Morning.
Morning.
Actually, if it's okay with you guys, I'd like for Mary to come up here with me because I couldn't be where I am without her. So, please. You guys know that the operational direction of dispatch falls under my supervision, and Mary is responsible for ensuring the equipment functions and is up to date. But she's way more than that. Dispatch wouldn't be where it is without her, so I'd like for her to be here with me. So, dispatch is currently fully staffed with 8 folks. You know, when we took it over, it was originally 4, and part of the transition was to go to 8. So we're happy that we have 8 full-time people in there now. They've finished all of their training. We just finished up CPR class the 1st of November, so we're in the process of submitting our EMD certification to the state. Hopefully see that here real soon. I am still working to try to recruit some more part-time folks, because, you know, they work, if no one comes in part-time, they work 84-hour weeks, or pay periods, I'm sorry. And so that's 4 hours of overtime. And so we're trying to get some part-time people in on a more regular basis to try to limit that. But that's where we are right now. Currently, we're working on updating all of our protocols for dispatch. That being the way that we actually dispatch calls, take calls and dispatch them. I think they were written in like 2008. So it's time. So we're kind of going through the process of updating those. Part of that is also to incorporate new EMD protocols. So that's an ongoing thing. Hopefully by, middle of January or something, we hope to have those done. We all know about the radio system problems that we've had in the past. Fortunately, they are better than they were. There was a piece of equipment way above my technical expertise that was replaced probably about a month ago. Seemed to help with communications in some of the areas of the county where it was lackluster. That with the addition of a repeater on Phoenix Mountain, which has helped the western end of the county tremendously, they are better than they were. You guys also approved, a contract with Roaring Gap to put some equipment out there. I've been working with our vendor to try to get the ball rolling on that. He's putting together a scope of work for us, hopefully with some good numbers, so we want to get that moving as quickly as possible. I'd like to talk real quickly about the amount of calls that have come through our comm center. And it kind of blew my mind to think that little old Alleghany County would have 10,762 administrative calls, 7,107 911 calls, and 61 texts to 911. If you're not aware, you can actually text 911, and if you are in a position where you can't speak. Of course, 100% of those calls were answered, those 911 calls, and they were, I think the average time was less than 3.5 seconds for each call. And I think if you're sitting there thinking, what's it, 3 seconds to pick up a 911 call? Normally it doesn't. But if you have a wreck on Main Street and 40 people call, you can't answer them all at one time. So 3.5 seconds per call is actually an excellent number. So of those calls that came into dispatch, that generated 15,230 calls for service. That being calls ran by sheriff's office employees, paramedics, firefighters, whatever the case may be. So 15,230 calls. Again, that was a staggering number for me to think about in Alleghany County. I do want to finish up with the communications part by saying that our plan, and actually this is Mary's idea, so I can't claim this one, but we intend to generate some sort of a letter drive to send out. And originally the intent was for the businesses, so they could provide us with key holder information or contact information so that we could get a hold of someone if something happens at 9 o'clock at night or midnight or whatever. We may expand that to maybe to individuals too. We don't know how that's going to look just yet, but I think that would be an excellent service that we can also provide for the citizens of our county, to be able to get a hold of someone, in the event that something happens to their property and they're not home. Do you have anything to add for communications?
Just that we've done numerous information requests, meaning it was for DSS, sheriff's departments, other agencies, law enforcement, lawyer's office just requesting copies of our CAD or the audio. We've done probably over 150 of those since we've took over that we've started documenting. So it's a constant going, constant every day. Some days you may not have none. Some days you may have 6 or 7 laying on your desk ready to fill out. So, but other than that, just the constant upkeep of the equipment that we're doing, and we're getting ready to start upgrading all the equipment at the backup center.
Any questions?
Questions?
Are we charging whenever we get a request for a CAD call?
Most other counties, I did ask about that. Most other counties do not charge. We do watermark ours once they leave our office, so we do know they come from our office. They have to fill out a form, and nothing goes out of the office unless that form is filled out.
Okay, thank you.
I'd just like to, you guys working well with the fire department, first responders, police. We're trying to get our communication language all on the same page, because I know that some fire departments use different codes, and we've all talked about getting them on the same page for better communication. So thank you very much. Thanks for working on the communication with the towers too.
It's all a work in progress, but we're gaining on it.
We are.
And I think we're in a better position now than we certainly were even a year or two ago.
Greg, any questions, comments?
Do a good job.
Timmy?
Thank you.
I just thank you for what you do.
Like you were talking about the numbers, those, it surprised me that they were so high, so many calls. And, you know, you referenced the 3.5 seconds or 3 seconds. You know, that's, you're answering those calls awful quick, awful quick. I'm impressed with it. And I think making that move from the jail facilities down here appears that it's really, really been a plus for the county. If it's a plus for the county, it's a plus for all the people that we serve in the county. And those,
We're really proud of where we are.
yeah, those that need an emergency, I'm sure they really appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you. And I think I've still got the podium for just a second for
Yeah.
emergency management, so I'll just carry on if that's
Yes,
okay with you.
go ahead.
And I won't take up much time, I'll be brief. So for fiscal year '23, we completed all of our emergency management performance grant deliverables. That's a recurring grant we get every year. This past year was $39,031 and some change of grant money that was awarded to us. Those deliverables are everything from attending conferences to being regionally active in meetings to 24 hours of Con Ed a year, and to some other things. So at any rate, fiscal year '23 has concluded, and right into fiscal year '24 we go. So we'll be working on that again, of course, this coming year. As I've mentioned in the past, the earthquake recovery is winding down, finally. A couple of projects that are still outstanding, but we're finally gaining on that. So let's hope that's the last one of those disasters we have for a while. I mean, you know, the earthquake was over 3 years ago, and we're still playing with it. So, you know, that shows the community that the recovery process is long and it is slow. But we're finally there. So let's just hope we don't have a bad winter. As you guys know, we did receive a grant to rewrite our emergency operations plan. We're gaining on it. I think they have a deadline of April to complete that, and they're plowing through it. I mean, it's a big, cumbersome document, so it takes some time, but they're getting that redone into a format that we can actually do something with. And I'll wrap up the emergency management portion by just saying that on November the 1st, I became the vice president of the North Carolina Emergency Management Association. And so next November, I will assume the presidency. So, any questions about emergency management?
Congratulations.
And condolences.
Questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the hard work.
Thank you, sir.
Next is Emergency Medical Services, David Spicer.
Again, Mr. Chairman and Board, I appreciate the opportunity to stand before you this morning. We too at Alleghany County EMS is fully staffed. So at this time we have 14 full-time employees that are on the ambulances, and that's not counting myself, but we have 14 that is there full-time, and they are working very diligently to make sure that everything is taken care of accordingly. So it's been a busy year. We've had 2,043 calls to date. We look back at things that has happened this year is we know Linda Edwards, she retired at the end of February, so this is when I took the reins as the director of EMS is shortly thereafter. So we have had some things that have come along. It has made improvements and has done very good for our service. Of course, this allows me as the director to chase some of the calls, to have an additional paramedic on the scene on some of the calls. Of course, this has all come with questions and comments, and we are making it work though. So we have a new billing service. We are outsourcing our billing now, so that is no longer done at the EMS base. That is done through a company called EMSMC. They are in Louisville, North Carolina, so they are working very hard, and I look back on that this morning, and they have billed out a little over $800,000 and have collected over $500,000. So we have had a little bit of a difficulty in our NC tracks. NC Track system has had an issue, and I don't think it's completely fixed yet, so we've not got that changed over, but I think that they do have access now to bill the Medicare and Medicaid, so we should see an increase in our revenue from that, hopefully shortly. We have a new ambulance, and with that new ambulance came 2 new stretchers. So we have made improvements in equipment. We have a new style radio that was placed in the new unit, which is a dual band. So we're now capable of talking either VHF or 800 megahertz. So with this new system, when we have to go to Viper, which we're working towards having to transition into the Viper system completely for EMS, and this has come from the North Carolina State Office of EMS, that we be compliant with them in 2025. So we're working towards that. We have been able to keep all of our units in good working order. The ones that we have, it's got over 100,000 miles. We keep them serviced and keep them in good shape. So far they are serving us well, so we're in good shape right now with all 4 units. We changed linen carrier. Our new linen carrier is able to keep up with what we need. That's been a positive thing. We have crew meetings now for information, and this, along with some other things, and I've got that listed on down, but this, along with the things that the Board of Commissioners and our county manager have been able to work out for the employees of EMS, has certainly built up the morale, and that has really improved in the last little while, and certainly we're thankful for that. We give information out to the crews, and when they have questions, they know they can come and ask them, and they'll get an honest answer, and we'll give them the best information that we have. We had an update of our protocols, and we've redone some of our SOGs, and certainly we're looking forward to all of those things. We changed that. We had to change the supervisor's cell phone. That everybody knows what cell phone service is. We allow the supervisors some discretion as far as our transport policy is concerned, and by us supporting them, that has helped with morale too. So they are very pleased with the support that they get for that and those things that take place. Another thing was that we added a swing shift, so that was one of the things that you all was able to help do, and that allows for the crews to have an additional day off every 3rd week. So that swing shift works Tuesday, Friday, so they work every Tuesday, Friday, and that allows for time for our regular crews to have off some additional time. So that has helped with that. The increase in pay, being fully staffed, the things that has been done, the increase in pay, the time off, all those things combined has allowed us to be attractive for people who worked other services, and we have been able to put to work some folks that have come from other services, and we have made positive implications on that. I've got 2 that just came in not long ago. One of them has already been and got his American Heart Association instructor for 3 different levels. They are now enrolled in a methodology class, and they are working towards becoming a level 1 EMS instructor. So that's going to lighten my load a little bit. So that's a positive thing there. So we now have 3 EMTs that work full-time, 1 on each of the 3 shifts. All 3 of those are under contract, and they will be going. We had one who chose to go a different route, but he has now completed his training and his schooling and is a paramedic. So we boarded him. He's still part-time. So certainly we're very thankful for that. We have additional equipment that we have been able to obtain. We've got some new stuff, new airways, and along with some other stuff. We've been able to eliminate a few things that we really didn't need and have additional equipment that we could use. We added cameras at the EMS base. One of those is on the cabinet that houses the narcotics. This cameras, along with a keypad security system, which indicates who opened the box, who was in the cabinet. That is dated and time-stamped so that I know exactly who's been in the cabinet. So if anything did come up, and this is part of the regulations that we have to abide by from the state and certainly other places too, but this was something that had to be done. So we've got that in place, and that is a security and a liability measure that we certainly are very much appreciative of. I would like to say thank you for the support that you've given me, and I want to say thank you for allowing my staff and I to accommodate additional employees and to help them with the morale. And you know, you come to work and see the crews talking with each other and laughing and cutting up, you know things is better. So if you have any questions, I'll entertain those.
Questions, comments, John?
No questions, but I do have a comment, having received, been on the receiving end of your services for a couple of times this year. I appreciate what you've done. The morale is up. It's very positive. I remember back whenever we were pulling our hair out, trying to figure out how we were going to cover the county with the CMS needs. Now it's a positive. That's the way it would like to go, and it makes my creditors real happy. So,
I just want to say that I had the pleasure of attending the rescue squad dinner this weekend, and someone who works there told me, they said, no matter what you do, you keep David Spicer. You keep him happy. That guy is doing a great job. So I just want to tell you, I heard that. So keep that guy happy. That's it.
Greg, comments?
If somebody wants to walk in and pay their bill, can they do it, or they have to go through that company?
They can come to finance office and pay it at finance.
April's office?
Yes.
Then I got a complaint, they can't walk down the steps. But
Okay.
it's in the community too old to walk up and down the steps.
So we
I just want to know. I told
yes, they can come to finance, and we have the service of an elevator.
I didn't know that.
Yes, sir, we have an elevator.
Y'all do a good job.
Thank you.
Timmy?
I just want to add to what Michelle said, and as me being new for the first year, I've got to know you, and I really do appreciate what you bring to EMS and how much, I've had conversations with folks that work with the EMS, work for you, and yeah, we just want you to stay as long as you can, because the EMS has needed somebody like you for a long time, so we really do appreciate what you do.
I think, everybody, it was a few months back, it was a struggle to get everything accomplished, but with everybody working together, the board, you, Mr. Carter, the people at EMS, we all were able to make that decision. And like you said, I think the morale improved greatly. You were able to, I think at one point even, get some employees from other counties to come back here. And that just shows that sometimes the government works a little bit slow, but usually in the end, we were able to accomplish what we thought would be the best thing for that department. And the best thing for that department is the best thing for the people of the county. And we appreciate you and all the employees that work so hard. It's one of those things you wish you'd never have to use. It's like the fire department. You don't want to use them, but when you need them, they're there and they do a very professional job. We appreciate it.
Thank you. One of those things that make it so good that you've allowed me to surround myself with good people. So the people that work there, they make it happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is April Ham, Finance and Human Resources.
Good morning again.
And again,
We've been busy in finance the past year. We've also been recognized a lot in finance this past year. So I want to remind the board about our presentation from State Treasurer Dale Falwell, and this county being recognized for securing financial stability and fiscal responsibility. And here are all the people that made that happen. So I want to thank everybody. Everybody sitting in this room made that happen. And thank you for letting me be a part of that. This past year, the Finance Office, we processed $23.8 million in payments running through that office. A little over $6 million of that was payroll. And we have 137 full-time positions and up to 60 part-time positions at any given time. We processed 49 new hires this past year, but we processed 47 terminations this past year and 6 retirees. So as many going out as are coming in. We conducted over 70 interviews this past year, trying to replace some of those terminations. In our office, we handle all the benefits management, health insurance, life insurance, dental and vision, plus any type of additional retirement venues that employees can participate in, plus our local government retirement system. We take care of all that for employees. We handle workers' compensation claims. We are the lead on the personnel policy and everything that goes along with that. That being disciplinary, sick leave, accruals, travel. We're the enforcers of that personnel policy and the substance abuse policy for all employees. We're currently assisting with property and liability claims. We handle the fixed asset and inventory management. Solid waste billing. We post revenue, state and federal reports monthly. The BDC billing currently, the county has taken over the BDC, and we help the third-party billing with EMS. We do all the recon for that, and anything that needs to be uploaded for that system is handled out of the finance office. Specific billing for any types of agencies and retirees, state and federal tax reconciliation and reporting, all the SCIF reporting is done. We had 3 SCIF funds now, and all that reporting is done quarterly, as well as the opioid reporting is done quarterly. Currently, our budget, last year's budget was $18.4 million. This year's budget is $20,083,788, but the total of all funds for the current fiscal year is $29,604,930, and that includes an additional 21 funds on top of the general fund, the general operating fund. Our big project last year was changing our banking institution. We got rid of the Loomis safe that was costing the county now about $9,500 a year, and we changed our banking institution that we were at to a new. We're now with Fifth Third. We love it. We love the resources they provide to us. We love the working relationship with them, and we love the solutions that they have given us for checking and savings and everything that goes along with that. Currently, we have 4 positions in the finance office, but we are down 1. You heard from Scott, we have had turnover, as with most departments, and we are currently looking for an accounting technician in our office. I want to thank Robin. Robin Hamilton is our Assistant Finance Officer. I want to thank her for all her hard work this year. And Dalila Morales is our Payroll Specialist, and I want to thank her for all of her hard work this year. It's a team in the finance and HR. We respect each other. We're there for each other. and I really appreciate the team that we have in place. I will also amen what David Spicer said. Love the people around me. Love those working relationships. We have a great group of county employees. Can't say enough about them. Can I answer any questions about finance or HR?
John, any comments or questions? Michelle?
Thanks, you all do a great job.
Thank you, Michelle.
Greg? Tammy?
Hey, keep up the numbers you want.
I did have one question. Part of it goes back to relates back to what you said about our auditor mention. I guess my question is it, but the turnover stuff, I know there's probably 100 different reasons, but I'm wondering, because we're about ready to start in our budget meetings again, do we think there's people that have been overworked sometimes because they got too much of a load, or is that one of the reasons?
People across the board are leaving for different reasons.
It's a lot of different reasons.
Health reasons, family health reasons. It's just a wide gamut. Sometimes people get into local government and decide government's not for them. They've come from the private sector or a banking environment, and you get in, and local government's just different.
So I figure if you get to a place that you need extra help, you'll let us know.
I'll be begging.
If that's what it is. But I was just curious. That's it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Next is Mayor Rector, GIS.
Good morning again. GIS office, and I kind of take on multiple roles, as you already know, with communications, but I'm also the TAC coordinator for the communications, which we handle everything processed going in that's getting entered. But on the GIS side, last year me, and we've done processing our deeds, assisting our attorneys and real estate offices. I've done 877 transfers, 131 splits, 75 combinations, 61 adjustments or remap of properties. I've done 15 major adjustment projects, and when I say major, it means 20 or more parcels were affected. I've done 104 new addresses for the county, 63 road signs, and 3 new roads have been added to our county system. So, pretty short and sweet, and also in our office, maintaining the 911 funds, which I'm glad to announce that, for the past 2 years have been good reports back from the state on our 911 funds. So, that's about the short and sweet of it.
Questions, John?
Do we still continue having a problem with disappearing signs?
Well, currently right now, you might notice some signs down because we did take the signs away from the fire departments, and maintenance is now assisting in putting those up, and we've actually kind of redone how we're putting them up, and so we're actually not seeing as many get gone now as in past.
Thank you.
Michelle? Greg? Me?
Appreciate you and your small team. You do.
Yeah, me, myself, and I. So.
I'd just like to say that I use, I guess, GIS more than some people. And I don't know, Mary can lock the door, I think, from her office when she sees me coming, but it's
I've never done that.
But it's amazing that the information that you can get through your office, and personally, it's helped me. But I know that a lot of people that you've done adjustments on lines, on property, on taxes, people have been being charged that shouldn't have been, and there again, some people not paying that should have been. But your office is a complicated office, and I'm really amazed at the speed and the accuracy. When I come in and ask a question, and I've been there when realtors come in, and you're on the ball all the time, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I think, not just talking about you, but talking about all of our department heads. I think in 8, 9, going on 10 years, I've had very, very, very few complaints about any of our departments. I've had 10 times more people say how nice the people are that work in our county government, how they go the extra mile to do something that they don't get done in Charlotte or other counties. And I know that the tax people, they probably get harassed more than anybody. But you very, very, very seldom hear anybody say anything negative about them. And you'll go around and you look at all of our different employees, there's always a smile on their face when somebody walks in the office.
Yep.
And I appreciate that.
And we appreciate everything you guys do.
Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next is Information Technology, our IT man, Chris Miller.
Good morning. Done a lot in IT this year. My biggest project's been the upgrade of the internet at the fairgrounds. I applied for a grant from TDA for that, and that was funded through them. Got coverage from the Black Building now all the way down to the fairgrounds now. And the first big test of that was the craft fair. That went very well, and there were no complaints there. I've been working with David Spicer with placing some cameras around the Alleghany building. I also been working with David and Danielle getting some upgrades for the boardroom, including the new wireless mic system, some TVs and speakers, and working on paint, some other aesthetic touches for in here. Several new computer installs and computer replacements, including a new computer at Alleghany Emotions for their chipmaker software. They're getting that on its own dedicated computer. It's helped them speed up their processes a lot. Repair and upgrade of multiple computers, replacement, a fingerprint station printer at the sheriff's office, troubleshooting IT support for several county employees, monitoring the network infrastructure, and network security reports, monitoring and managing our antivirus software, and that includes software updates to the computers, education to county employees of IT issues, including informational alerts for email and phishing scams, train to county employees about IT hardware and software, server management for the admin office, tax office, DSS, sheriff's office, and dispatch. And we're looking at putting in a new server for the biotech system for the tax office, managing users on the servers. And I've taken over as the primary contact for our. So I manage those, managing the phone systems and the websites, and also for the minutes and agendas that we post, managing the main county Facebook page, managing the county online I maintain stock of computer equipment, materials, and supplies sufficient to ensure one the public records request this year. So.
Any questions, John?
I
Comments?
think it should be noted that basically, whenever you came on board, we had nothing as far as IT support. It was to the point whenever we turned up after we put in the new telephone system, it promptly shut down because we had no firewalls, and we never realized how we were being attacked. You've listed a plethora of things that you do, and I'm beginning to wonder how he does it all by himself. So keep it up, because we aren't going to get anybody to help you.
Thank you.
I know it's maddening, it is hard, but thank you for standing up the system, what you've been able to accomplish, and hopefully you will be able to do more for us in the future. Thank you.
Michelle? Greg?
Good job.
Timmy?
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Chris I know it's been a big improvement since you came on board. Like John said, each department was almost trying to depend upon themselves or have some outside source. Now we can come to one person, and I think you've brought the whole county together on the IT field, and we appreciate that. Thank you. Planning and inspection, Travis Dalton.
Everyone,
Morning.
this year in building inspection and planning, on our permits, we had 72 new houses permitted. Some finished, some have not yet. That's up from last year, which was at 64. Of the new houses, 16 of these were tiny homes, and 17 were in the 1,000 to 1,500 square foot range, leaving the rest over 1,500 square foot. We had, for additions and remodels, had 46. Then we had 30 new garages built, 5 commercial jobs permits issued. And then on the planning side, as plats, we reviewed as review officer in ordinance compliance, we did 103. And we had 1 planning board meeting this year. Our total revenue on permit fees was $123,005. And we're currently right now working with the School of Government on updating our land use plan, which we should have a basic draft here soon. Pretty much sums up my world for a year.
John, questions,
We
comments?
haven't had any complaints about septic tanks lately. Where are we on that? Are you,
I haven't heard much lately, so it must be doing better.
it's not stirred the pot then. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Michelle?
Sounds like you've been busy.
Stay busy.
Timmy?
On the road a lot, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Thanks. Thank you, Travis.
And the septic tanks that time period is picked up now.
Yeah.
And
What I'm hearing.
and I think, the health department added a few people about 10 or 12 months ago, and that may have helped also.
Normally, if I'm not hearing, it's better.
Okay,
Thank you all.
thank you. David Spicer, Public Works. How many hats do you wear?
Well, quite a few, but they all fit, so. Again, Mr. Chairman and Board, I thank you for an opportunity. Facility update, here's we look back on the year for their administration building. We have a generator now that is in place here, and it's up and running. This was in big part to some funds that we was able to obtain for that. The dispatch center being moved down here was one of the big pushes for the generator, and it does the entire building, so that's a plus for everyone. We had a work day here to improve the landscape around, so everyone that helped in that, we really appreciate all the hard work that was done that day. Chris mentioned the new television for the boardroom in the closed session, and I would like to apologize for this television working. We will get on that one. We've had some repairs to some of the HVAC systems, one being in the tax and tag office, some rewiring and some new fan motors and those type things. Our walkways and patio has been redone. All those spalled places where the concrete had fell apart, we have had that replaced. The lower lot here in the parking lot has been repaved, which has improved that and has the water. They raised the drain just a little bit, and then it allowed for us to funnel the water into the drain that's in the parking lot rather than it standing out there and causing hazards in the winter time. At the transfer facility, we added a new employee this year, which has tremendously helped there, especially with the way of the appearance of the transfer facility. We now have a temporary tipping floor. This is to be used when something happens with the existing tipping floor, or we need to make repairs there or redo. So we had new tires put on the cat loader, a stop arm installed, so that was something that has helped about some of the things that we were missing out on. We have an additional compactor that we applied for a grant through the state and got $20,000 there to assist with that. We've had 33.20 tons of commingle. We've had 46.79 tons of cardboard. We've had 96.06 tons of scrap metal, which yielded the county $19,725.20. We've had 11,729 tons of solid waste that has left the county at a total of 977 tons per month. That's a lot of trash. We are seeking an engineer for a design of a new tipping floor building that we can make improvements out there. So that's underway, and we're going to work diligently in trying to accomplish this task. At 90 South Main, the earthquake damage that was done there, the building's been redone, so that looks really good. New door was put on the back for the fire exit. A wall and a new flooring was put in for the soil and water. We had the walls that was existing that wasn't redone. We pressure washed them, which caused the building to be more attractive. We put a new roof on the building, so the roof has been redone, and the doghouse that was on top, the sides and the roof of it was fixed. And then we reinstalled the Christmas lights just in time. So that's all up and going and running. At the jail, we've had some water issues as far as the hot water is concerned. We've had one mixing valve replaced and one that has been repaired. So that is taken care of. The heat was fixed for the front. We have a new floor in the infirmary there for the nurse's office. That flooring has been redone and fixed numerous lights. At the health department, the remodeling there on the inside, I think, is pretty much mostly complete. We do have now new HVAC units on the roof and also a new roof. So that building is much improved. At the community college, the BDC, we've had additional air conditioning ductwork run for the server room, so that's been taken care of. There's been numerous lights fixed there. We also are in the process, with the help of the welding class at the college, taking down the handrails, repairing those, painting them, and then putting them back in place. So they are working on those and have already got some of them fixed. We have some new security measures, as I mentioned earlier. Those is things that we're still working on, trying to get all of that finalized. There's been a new awning put on the front of the BDC. The old awning was kind of threadbare. So we had a new awning put there. We've got a new floor on the Wilkes Community College side in the biology lab and room 205. The lamp posts have been painted. We painted the bases of those yellow because people were damaging their vehicles there, so we fixed it so they could be easily seen. We did have to replace a skylight there in the Wilkes Community College side that was leaking, so that's been redone. At Daymark, we've had the heat fixed in the front building. Lights in both buildings have been repaired. Some minor repairs as far as the buildings is concerned. So at the Veterans Park, we have done some work there and had some work done. The crew from maintenance and also some additional people have assisted us with some work that's went on there, some cleaned up around the monuments, and we cleaned up around the Charters of Freedom. That has all been redone and grassed, so hopefully come spring, that will look really nice. We also had our Charters of Freedom dedication service out there, which was very nice, I thought, and those folks have really helped us and did a good service for this county. So the stream restoration, I'm sure that Eric will talk more about that, but that's almost complete. Certainly the monument for the veterans and the brick that are there, and we've had additional bricks honoring the veterans placed this time. So all that's been sealed and waterproofed, and we try to keep that up for our veterans. The fairgrounds, repairs on the grounds to some electrical, some lighting, but there's been very few repairs that has to be done, and some of them were done in the concession stand and the bathrooms, but those have all been very minor. We've had 2 water leaks at the Black Building. We lost quite a bit, over 10,000 gallons of water on one of those. It was discovered a little bit later than maybe we'd like for it to have been, but we got those things fixed, and the water leak at the concession stand, as you already know, ran out over 50,000 gallons. But those things have been fixed and corrected. We also had a work day out at the Fire Training Center. We had a lot of help that come out, and we got some things cleaned up and some things done that we're needing. And of course then everything else has been winterized. At the EMS, we've had to replace a heat and air unit. That was the outside condensing unit. The inside unit was still good, so we just had to replace the outside. We had to have some garage door work. The new ambulance lights was fixed inside the building. We got new computers and a new security system. At DSS, they expanded to an additional building. We had a work day there, and again, all these work days, I really appreciate those folks who come and assist us on that. So we have some new security measures there at DSS service, so that is things that's ongoing there. At the COA, we had some wind damage this time. It blew part of the roof off. So in that, we have had that roof repaired. However, it is not the correct color, but that was the best we could do at the time, and they have promised me they have got the stuff ordered. I do not know if it's come in yet. I have not heard, so that's something that I will need to continue to check on. And then some other minor repairs on the inside. We've been keeping up our vehicles. We've had numerous repairs on some of those. Mostly just routine maintenance, new tires and those type things. So in that, certainly we try to keep our vehicles in good working order. Now for our animal control, as I'll conclude here with this, as a year-end report, we had 104 assists for the Sheriff's Department, 36 dogs and livestock, 91 will checks, 123 dogs and or cats picked up. We had 146 running at large, 40 attacks, 28 bites that required quarantine. We trapped 125, which led to a total of 1,555 hours, 626 calls, and 8,121 miles traveled. I'll entertain any questions that you might have.
Start with John, Michelle, Greg, Timmy.
No, good.
That's an impressive report. A lot of work has
Yes,
gone into it, and a lot of work's still to be done.
Yes, sir.
But we thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Recreation, Randy Murphy.
Good morning. We've had a very busy season this past year with the number of kids that we've had participating in the sports, and also fairgrounds and facilities that's being rented and functions are being done out there. Looking back on some of the numbers, basketball, we had a total of 173 kids. Soccer, this is 13 years and under, 125 kids. Baseball and softball, 13 and under, we had 303 kids. Program that we just started this year, first year that we've ever had a golf program. We had about 20 kids, which is a wonderful start for that. And this is the second year we did the volleyball. We had almost 40 kids with it. Events at the fairgrounds, I won't go through all of them because we had several, but we've done everything from a bull riding to mudslings. We had the first year we've ever done an ATV mudsling, Fielder's Convention. We had our Apple Pie Festival, which created the biggest crowd that we've ever had. And even the bull riding brought in a little over 4,000 people to the county on that event. Black building, same way. We've had quilt shows to livestock shows at the building. The fairgrounds, we do have the speakers ordered, so hopefully early spring those will be installed. Also, they had already mentioned about the heat going into the black building, so I'm hoping doing these improvements will actually increase how many times they're rented. I think we have the option, especially fairgrounds, to offer that facility, and people will take up on that facility, being that our speakers has been improved and facility has also been improved. And going back to as far as like the sports we have, which everybody here knows, I know that we're hoping to maybe have a baseball facility, baseball and softball facility, and a swimming pool for the kids to be able to come in. Looking back on numbers in the past, these numbers are the best that I have been able to find as far as the sports and that stuff goes. That's pretty much everything I got.
Questions, comments, John, Michelle?
I cross paths with Randy just about every Saturday morning at some cafe in town, and he's always headed to some ball game somewhere, so he is one dedicated guy. He goes to probably more ball games than anybody in this whole county goes to, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Greg?
I know you put in a lot of hours, Randy. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jimmy? I think all of us are looking forward to the spring, especially get away from the wind and the cold weather, but to see where we stand on the possibility of a new sports facility for the county, for the children of the county, and also for the adults. If the sports complex becomes a reality, that's an economic incentive for this county. But we're anxious to see where that's going to come about here in the next few months. But like Michelle said, you're at every game. We appreciate all the hard work you put into it, and all the student athletes, they appreciate it, and I'm sure their parents do too.
Well, now that I've got Courtney, I mean, we're both. We try to take a weekend off here and there every now and then, but she helps us a lot on getting to the events and making sure everybody sees us and kids sees us.
Okay, thank you. Next looks like Register of Deeds, Miranda Root.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'll start off by letting you know, for our fiscal year last year, so till the end of June 30th of this year, the Register of Deeds office did $338,008.60. Of that, $244,493 was our excise tax, which is the tax paid on the land transfers within the county at $2 per thousand based on purchase price. We did 91 marriages last year, which is quite a few for Alleghany County these days. So far this year, we have done from July 3rd till Friday at the end of the day, 169,813, and our excise tax is at 123,494, and so far we have done 54 marriages. Compared to last year from July till December 16th, that amount was 153,551.60, so our land transactions are still up. Excise tax for this time last year was 109,034, and we roughly had done about 51 marriages at that point. Our office is diligently working to get some 100-year-old or 100 deed of trust books scanned in and indexed so that it allows for the attorney's offices to do full 40-year title searches without having to leave their offices. Right now, they can't access those old deed of trust books, so we're trying to get those indexed and get those alive here soon. Our first 40 years are about to go live. My office staff, we've all keyed those in ourselves, so that's thousands of individuals' names and so forth. So you can only imagine it's taken us hours and hours and hours to do this. But we are almost in completion of those 40 years, and we'll continue on back to the remainder of the beginning of the county. We're also working on a marriage conversion. This is going to go back to the beginning of the county, also of 1849. Our marriages will fully be indexed. Right now, we have to go in and look it up by year and date to find those individuals. This is going to allow us to key in by name. It'll be a faster search. It'll help people with genealogy. Or right now, we do a lot of the real ID, so we're doing a lot of certified births and marriages for that. I cannot believe how many people got married here back in the 60s and 70s that live in Ohio now. We get calls daily. We recently, about a month and a half ago, we had our first malware attack. It only took down our website. Thank God we were not breached in-house. Everything was fully operable. We continued business on as usual, but the internet was down for about 10 days. Our provider, Logan Systems, they got us back up and running very quickly. It, again, did get some inconvenience to the attorneys and to the real estate world, but we were very fortunate to get to see their smiling faces again because they don't get to come in as often as they used to. So it was nice to have everybody in and doing it old school. But we are fully back up and running. We have also, we've had a fraud link on our website now for quite some time, and it seems like that has become very popular. It's where you can go in and register your email and your name. Anything that gets recorded, it automatically gets sent to you so that you're aware. Evidently, the deed scams are up throughout the nation. Luckily, I've not heard of any in North Carolina, and definitely none in Alleghany County so far. But we have had several individuals who come in and want to be a part of that fraud alert system. So it must be getting more noticed and more out there. Other than that, we are extremely busy. Real estate is still going, and I don't know how we have land to sell in Alleghany County, but there is. So, any questions?
Just to let you know why there were so many marriages in the 50s and 60s. You could get married in Alleghany County or in North Carolina in one day. You had a waiting period in Virginia, Tennessee, and Ohio. We were in the Guinness Book of Records because we would marry over 10 times the population of Alleghany County back then.
We did thousands of marriages back then.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
I wish we were still doing that many.
It was a one-stop shop. You'd go over to the hospital. You had to have a blood test at that time. Come back, and the justice of the peace would be waiting for you. It was a little cottage industry at that time. But thank you for everything you do. Stay busy. Keep on bringing the tax money in. Thank you.
Michelle?
I know that you've had unprecedented times with all these real estate sales, so appreciate all your hard work.
Well, let's commend it to my staff too, because we've been able to maintain with just the three of us, and we've kept everything going and everything up to date. So we stayed cross-trained, and Nicole's doing fabulous. She's catching on very quickly. And Jackie, of course, is great like always. So I commend both of them. They do a lot.
Y'all do more than land deeds up there. People need to go and look and see what all register deeds has got in there.
We do.
Y'all do a lot more than that. You
We do.
good.
A lot of history.
Speaking of history, it's the oldest deed we have recorded is in 1849, or do they go so back further than
No,
that?
they go back further than that. Some do. We've got early 1800s is about the earliest. Because at the time, you know, we were part of Ashe County, so some records are still in Ashe County. Yeah, and Wilkes.
And Surrey,
Yeah,
just a little bitty slice.
just a little bit, yeah.
There again, I've used that office several times here in the last few years, and it's amazing that the knowledge that that department has. A lot of times, they don't have to go to a record. It seems like it comes off the top of their head, but when they do, and you go back into the early 1900s or the late 1800s, and you try to read a deed or something, and Heather knows that that handwriting was totally different than what people are used to today. And I sit there and I try to read this, and there's no way. And Miranda and her people can just spit it right out. They understand what those people were talking about, and how important it is to have the markers where they're supposed to be, how the deeds were laid out back in those days, because it affects sales today. And I just take my hat off to you and your department for the hard work they do. I think you're more of an investigative department than just about anything, but
Sometimes.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is the Sheriff's Office. Shane?
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Board. I'm excited to present the Sheriff's Office end-of-year report. First off, I'd like to read a message from the Sheriff, Brian Maines. As your Sheriff, I set the goal that we would run a Sheriff's Office that would be transparent and accountable to the people of Alleghany County. This report is designed to give you, the Board, and the citizens of Alleghany County a tangible measurement of the service delivered by me and my team. It is in anticipation that upon your review of this report, you will be pleased with the success we've had, and while being mindful of the allocation of taxpayer dollars. This report reflects the commitment and hard work provided by the staff of the Alleghany County Sheriff's Office. I hope that on your review of this report, you will be pleased with the success we've had. I'm sorry, read that twice, didn't I? So Alleghany County Sheriff's Office, our mission statement is together we're making a difference one day at a time. The vision statement, the Alleghany Sheriff's Office staff will continually invest in the people of Alleghany County through community partnerships, strategic planning. The Alleghany County Sheriff's Office utilizes a multifaceted approach to the problems we face in our county. We do this through prevention, enforcement, and postvention. Next, on slide 3, is our patrol division. Most of our stats here, as you can see at the bottom, the green is the criminal processes served. This would be the fugitive warrants from other states, warrants for arrest, criminal summons. Those since 2021 have more than doubled. And these aren't just me handing a piece of paper for the most part. These are going to someone's house, arresting them, bringing them to the law enforcement center, searching them, taking them to the magistrate's office, the magistrate giving them a bond, a lot of paperwork and time and effort is involved in those. The civil processes served has remained steady. We've got a slight decrease in the domestic violence protective orders, which is great. I think during COVID, we had a peak. I assume that it's where everybody was cooped up together, but I'm glad those numbers are going back down. Incident reports have remained steady, but the main one is our criminal processes that have went up. What's not included in the graph, but patrol officers are also responsible for and have been diligent in performing over 2,700 business checks, unlocked over 70 vehicles, 305 times assisted other agencies, and completed 115 six-fender checks, while also logging 190,000 miles on patrol. Next, we have the most common type of offenses here in Alleghany County. Number one at 19.6% is drug narcotics violations, followed by larcenies at 14.7%, and at 13.1% is vandalism or destruction of property, and drug paraphernalia at 8.2%. So two of the things that we really focus on is drug enforcement and property crime. And we do this through education. We also have scam awareness, where we'll get together with churches and they'll bring in people and we'll inform them on the different types of scams and how to avoid them. Next is the different types of drugs that we see here in Alleghany County. 44% of the time when we make a seizure of narcotics, it ends up being methamphetamine. Meth is the biggest drug that we have here in the county, and marijuana comes in just behind that. Our special response team is a 10-man team. All members are certified in basic SWAT operator. We have 3 that are advanced SWAT operator. They're trained in a variety of different ways. Some of it is school and large building searches, tactical movement, weapon manipulation, force-on-force munitions. Commissioner Irwin, you've seen a little bit of that, where we do reality-based scenario training with sim rounds, and they hurt. So it's as real as you can get without being real. Yeah, they logged over 740 hours of training this year. Our K-9 team, Sergeant Krause and K-9 Buck, together they had 24 positive alerts. Of those 24 alerts, they netted 71 charges. They seized 324 grams of methamphetamine, 8,822 grams of marijuana. I think that's over 19 pounds. Don't hold me to that, it's a lot. 128 grams of mushrooms. So I'd like to commend Sergeant Krause and K-9 Buck for the outstanding job that they do in the detection of seizures of narcotics in our county. Next, we have average detention numbers for the month. The Alleghany Detention Center consists of 2 dormitory and 9 isolation cells. The local dorm contains 10 cells that open up into a day room. Each of the cells holds 2 offenders. The federal dorm is an open setting dorm with 15 bunk beds. The total capacity of the Alleghany County Detention Center is 59 inmates. If you take a quick glance at the charts, you can see the numbers were significantly higher at the beginning of the year of 2023 versus 2022, while becoming more consistent throughout the year. Another responsibility of the Alleghany County Sheriff's Office is to maintain courthouse security. We do this Monday through Friday with the exception of holidays. The officer's responsibility is to maintain security at the front door by getting people through the metal detector to ensure that no weapons or contraband enter the courthouse. This chart shows the average number of people per month that enter the courthouse, And if you see the rise in August and in March, that's because we have Superior Court all week, and that's the influx there. Our Criminal Investigation Division, if you look at the chart here, you see the property is valued at $258,400. The amount that we were able to recover was $148,264, which is 57%. At 57%, our agency almost doubles the national average of 30% recovery. Our CID also had 249 criminal charges throughout the year and conducted over 40 control purchases of narcotics. Next, our school resource officers assist staff daily in providing checks as well as parking lot checks. SROs assist students in several capacities on a daily basis, which include but are not limited to teaching DARE and building positive relationships with the kids. Our victim services staff, they have served 91 primary victims. Of those victims, 87 were domestic violence or stalking, 4 were sexual assaults. While serving 91 primary victims, 51 secondary victims were also served. The work they do with these victims can be emotionally challenging. However, our staff is dedicated to providing help and resources to victims in need. Here's some of the grant income that we've received from October 1st, 2022 to September 30th of 2023. The Governor Crime Commission Underserved Populations Grant, that actually helps fund our 2 that work in victim services. The next grant actually partially helps fund 2 of our deputies. The third grant was used for Southern Health Partners to help pay for a nurse for the detention facility. It was also used for some equipment. As I mentioned briefly talking about the SROs, these officers are responsible for teaching DARE to 5th grade students throughout our county. DARE is an evidence-based curriculum that teaches responsibilities, decision-making, handling responsibilities, and educates with drug and alcohol facts. At the end of the 10-week program, we have a DARE graduation day at Krause Park for all the students who participate and complete the program, as well as submit a DARE essay. We had 5 classes that the SROs taught DARE in, so we gave away 5 bicycles for the winners of the DARE essay. So each class had a winner. Sheriff's 8th annual food drive, we brought in $472.02 and 1,654 pounds of food. All proceeds went to the food closet, went to the families in need. The purpose of distracted driving simulation at AHS is to give student drivers a safe and controlled experience into the possible effects and consequences of distracted driving and driving under the influence. This is done before big events such as prom. We served approximately 200 students on this day. Next is our 9th annual Peace Officer Memorial. The Peace Officer Memorial is an observance in the United States to pay tribute to local, state, and federal peace officers who have died or been disabled in the line of duty. It is celebrated May 15th of each year. In the past, this past May, Alleghany Sheriff's Office 9th Annual Peace Officer Ceremony. This event was held in the parking lot of the Alleghany Law Enforcement Center, where the community was also invited to attend. Hands Across the Border is an annual event with multiple agencies, including members of the Alleghany Sheriff's Office, Sparta Police Department, North Carolina Highway Patrol, Grayson County Sheriff's Office, members of MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. This year event netted 9 traffic citations, 3 arrests involving guns, drugs, and paraphernalia. The Sheriff's Office participated in the annual Trunk or Treat on Main Street, which helps us build positive community relationships and positive interactions with families and community members. Roughly 800 kids come through this event. Run for Claus is an annual event that we do to raise money for Christmas for Kids Outreach. This was our 5th annual Run for Claus. We raised $12,900 and attracted 38 participants in the 5K run/walk. The 9th annual Back to School Safety Day had over 600 people served. The Sheriff's Office teamed up with local agencies and community leaders to provide fun and educational activities focusing on child safety. This event was completely free to the community and provided school supplies, food, games, information, and activities for all ages. Some of the activities that were there was face painting, air care, medical safety, smokehouse, distracted driving, DWI simulator, the sheriff's wagon train, and much more. This day, I know I've seen a lot of y'all there. The pictures that we took, we had to wait till it kind of slowed down. It was amazing to see how many people come through. Christmas for Kids is our annual event held by the Sheriff's Office where we were able to provide gifts to all children that are in a licensed child care center or school up to the 3rd grade. This project is funded through sponsorships, donations, and fundraising. This year we were able to provide gifts to around 600 kids. And in each gift, they would get at least one big toy, a ball, toboggan, gloves, coloring book, crayons. So it was amazing to give 600 gifts away. Although this event takes a lot of planning and partnerships with the centers and the schools, it's very rewarding and unique opportunity that we get when we do this. In closing, I want to thank y'all for allowing me to present the report. To y'all, at this time, is there any questions?
Start with John, questions and comments.
Well, you know, first responders always deal with happy people.
Yes, sir.
I mean, they thank you for what you do all the time, and I'm being facetious. It is amazing what this little county does and what you go through with the limited staff that you do. The participation and with this public, general public, what you're doing for the kids is outstanding.
Appreciate that.
It is not a safe profession. I can relate to that. Please pass to you and all your staff how much the county and I appreciate what you do. Keep up a good work.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bill?
Very grateful for all that you all do, and, you know, we don't even though we have some issues with drugs and theft here, it is nothing like our neighboring counties has, and that, my hat's off to
And
you
I was
guys.
going to say, you know that just as well as anybody working in probation.
Do a good job. I know next week, Christmas Day, a lot of us will be at home. A lot of you boys will be working EMS, but we appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Gang, all y'all do.
Yeah, you know, you've got a hard job to do. You probably don't make a lot of people happy some of the time, but you do what you have to do to keep the rest of us safe. I appreciate it, and I especially like the the events you hold at the school system, where you go through each school, I believe, and have the lockdown procedure. That lets the school personnel know what's going to happen if something ever happened.
Of course.
And it gives you all some good training. I really appreciate that. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Next is social service. Stacy Presnell.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm not going to read all 25 pages. So over the last year, our agency and staff have worked hard to become cross-trained in an effort to help with coverage of all program areas. This has made a great impact on the agency's ability to ensure all program areas are covered and services continue to the citizens of Alleghany. Even though the agency faced a large amount of staff turnover, we still managed to meet all performance areas in the audits without going into any corrective action in any program area. I've asked my supervisor staff to come today to present what all they've done over the last year, and since I previously supervised the Medicaid unit, I'll share that data first. 2,700 individuals, which help to pay for their medical. Approximately 24% of the population in Alleghany County receive Medicaid benefits, and an estimated $17,391,644 in medical services were provided. Our unit's seen a 2% increase in recipients, and this is anticipated to increase with Medicaid expansion. Our Medicaid transportation services are coordinated with Alleghany in Motion through gas vouchers and van services. 65 gas vouchers were issued with $1,084 spent for services.
Hello, I'm Kathy Billings, and I supervise food, nutrition, energy, and daycare programs. An average of 1,754 citizens per month receive food and nutrition benefits totaling $4,523,945 in estimated benefits. The food and nutrition unit carries an average of 845 cases per month. Our energy programs provided $147,000 in benefits to approximately 350 households. These programs provided monetary assistance to heating expenses and water assistance to households who are in need and who are eligible. These programs generally run from October to January. Our daycare programs, we provided service for 103 children throughout the year. These services are to enable families to become self-supporting or prevent or remedy child abuse or neglect. A total of 343,465 in services were provided for daycare services.
And hello, good morning. My name is Angie Sexton. I currently am collected 487,700 collections amounts with maternity children, 3 DNA tests. We had 39 new orders, new applications.
I think we're about at good afternoon. Leah Krause, and I supervise Child Protective Services. Our agency had 47 children in foster care during the past fiscal year. 14 children came into foster care, and 23 children were closed out. Our agency licensed 3 new homes in Alleghany County to provide foster care services to our children. 8 children found permanency by being adopted. The Child Protective Services Unit received 141 reports, 123 children involved in either investigation or assessment. 69 of those reports involved neglect, with the remaining reports involving abuse and/or dependency.
Good afternoon. I'm Rebecca Jones, and I supervise Adult Protective Services. Our unit received 104 new reports in the last fiscal year, with 38 adults found to be abused, neglected, or exploited. Our agency provided guardianship services to 25 disabled individuals, and we increased our payee caseload by 5. Our agency contracts with the Alleghany Council on Aging, which served 5 clients with 386 hours of service there. Those services help keep adults in their home and provide cleaning services and other things. These are just a few highlights of what we do. There are several other programs provided to our citizens. I will say that the state requires that our children's services see all of our foster kids on a monthly basis, and we have 47 foster children currently. We're required to see them 98% of the time in their living arrangement, and children's services have been able to meet and exceed the state requirement by seeing all 47 of those children on a monthly basis 100% of the time.
Could I just ask a question while you're right there?
Sure.
How many do you keep up with the miles you travel to see these 47?
I do not, but I can say that our children are placed all over the state, one even into all the way from or close to Fayetteville to Tennessee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So our agency served 14,951 individuals by telephone last year and 3,800 individuals face-to-face within the agency. We are currently short 2 social worker positions, but all of our other units are fully staffed, so we have 29 total employees. So I just want to thank the board and the county management for their support, and I'm very thankful that my agency does.
John?
None.
Michelle?
I'm on the Social Services Board, and I want to give Stacy a tip of the hat. This is her first year in this position. And in her first year, she has had to encounter the Medicaid expansion program, which meant that we had to rent a whole nother building to put staff in. So she's had a lot on her plate this year. So, but she has a good team behind her. So thank you for all that y'all do.
Thank you.
Greg?
Y'all do a good job over there. I appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Jimmy?
No questions, but comment is, blows my mind that that it's a $27 million budget for DSS. It's more than our whole county deal. It's just crazy, but it's a reality. But yeah, thank you guys. And I know it's another turnover thing in your all's field. That's a constant thing I'm sure you have to deal with, but appreciate what you all do too.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say you all do, as far as I know, a fabulous job. I know you're on a couple boards with me with Council on Aging, and it's you're just spread thin over this county, and I just, it takes a special person with your people to do the jobs that you do. I hope sometimes you can go home and forget about it for a few minutes, but I'm sure it's hard to do. But we appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Hamilton, Soil and Water.
Bobby, Chelsea's going to give y'all a handout. I'll let her start with her education side first.
And this is Chelsea Bobbitt.
Good afternoon. I'm going to give my education update before Eric gives our technical update. So this will be sent to the state, so it has some additional information. But our department includes Eric as our director and technical, and me as the education coordinator and admin, and then we have our 5 supervisors, and then our NRCS staff, David Tucker. This year we attended several different networking meetings across the state and out of state when I traveled to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Annually we go to our annual meeting, which is usually held in January, and then we do conservation and police training that's held early fall. Then we also have 2 spring meetings that's hosted by a different county every year. We have a spring and fall meeting with whichever county is hosting it that year, and this year we went to Avery County 2 different times. This year I was able to reach over 2,000 students from teaching individual lessons within the classroom, and then helping different counties at conservation field days. We did a community garden this year, and we are planning with App Healthcare to already do another community garden this upcoming year. And then we hosted Contest Awards Night, which is our speech, essay, and poster contest. We had over 50 people in attendance at that. And then at our CET training, I was presented my environmental education certification. With Area 2 hosted the annual Northwest Envirothon in March. We sent 8 middle school teams and 4 high school teams, and 5 of those middle school teams advanced to the state competition in April. In October, we hosted our 15th annual Envirothon. We had 26 teams ranging from 5th graders to 9th graders. 8 of those teams will advance to the Area 2 Envirothon in March. We also this year hosted a 5th grade conservation day for all 5th graders in the county, and we hosted about 100 students there. We also sent 2 rising seniors to NC State to resource conservation in June, and the board also selected a senior with a $500 scholarship. We partner with Blue Ridge RC&D, Resource Conservation and Development, and New River Conservancy to do our live stake giveaway, and we gave away around 5,000 live stakes. And then we also did our free tree giveaway and gave away around 8,000 trees. I'm going to skip ahead so I can finish before Eric starts. Our seed drill was rented out 22 times in 2023 and brought in $5,618. This year we did receive the App Health grant for our community garden, and those were to buy different things to support the garden. We have also received 3 mini grants from the Soil and Water Foundation. Those grants will buy a soils tent, so it's a pop-up tent that has different soil types that we can pop up at the fair, Envirothon, and at schools. We'll also be getting a soils tunnel, so an inflatable tunnel that students can walk under and kind of like they're living underground. And then we're also looking into buying a boom sprayer to rent out to farmers. And that I also gave you a paper that will be our monthly board meetings. Thank you.
All right, with the district, which is NRCS, USDA, we assisted them in securing funds for RCPP and EQIP in the amount of $983,603 for this year for farmers in Alleghany. We also sponsored a DWR grant, Division of Water Resources, in the amount of $407,100 to match the excuse me. Share, usually we only get 1 round of funding a year. We got, this year, first round, we got $60,151. Got the opportunity to apply for some more funds that were coming from the State Fiscal Recovery Act. We got an additional $100,000, which we are in the process of contracting. Should have that February.
AgRap, which is for water quality, not water quantity. We've got $10,000 to use for that, and we do not have that in cover yet. We also have the STRAP program, Stream Flow Rehabilitation Assistance Program. This was started back in 2022. The state allocated $38 million out amongst the districts. We applied for $247,200, which we received, and out of that we have spent $174,500 so far. We do have the remainder of the funds contracted, they just haven't been completed yet. I think that come up to being a little over 10,000 linear feet of stream that we have took debris out of, beaver dams, removed all that out. The state also allocated another $20 million this fiscal year for this same program, and we are currently taking applications and people that are interested to see if they qualify for projects. We have to have that in by February. Veterans Park. I was just down there. I had to leave twice. That's where I went. Stream restoration project, it's about 85–90% complete. All the structures are in the stream. Most of the bank sloping is done. This bank slopes have been seeded. They have been matted with the coconut fabric, and they have been staked down. Just left a little bit ago. We got a little over $5,000 worth of plants came in this morning, and also a load of the asphalt millings to repair the few spots on the track where we did a little bit of destruction there. This is a $386,000 project, and with talking to the contractor this morning, we're hoping to be finished by possibly end of this week, other than the mess we made going in and out of the park where it's so soft. We'll probably have to wait till spring to finish grading and seeding that area. That's all I have. If y'all have any questions.
John?
None.
Greg? Timmy?
No, good. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, next is Tax Office, Rita Miller.
No. So Teresa's going to hand you out a handout. I was going to do an overhead, and I kind of ran out of time to get it there. But I also had a couple of key members of my staff come. I think it's good for them to hear everything that goes on. They try to listen to it in the office, but you get busy, you don't always get the full gist of what goes on in these meetings. But so our annual report this year, the tax office is basically 3 divisions. We have assessment, collections, and then we have the tag office as well. So I want to touch on just a little bit of things that you don't hear in my monthly reports. So this year, the assessment department had a project called the Change Finder Project, and it's where we had aerial imagery from 2019 to 2023, and from the new flights, they overlay the image, and then a report comes back to the tax officer, back to Teresa, identifying everything that we don't have assessed or we didn't have a sketch of. So we're really proud of that. It's very, very helpful, in my opinion, to rural areas like ours. We have a lot of gated property and things like that. It's also much safer for my appraisers to be out. So the image in your report shows one of 741 changes, and it's kind of hard to see, but that was an addition on the front side of the house that we had not picked up. The value change based on this first time we've had this project picked up $4.5 million in assessed value, and the total of this assessed value of all real property, including exempt properties, that's government-owned properties, is $1.8 billion. To summarize the project, there were 740 structures that showed changes in the sketch, 1,520 new structures, and 656 that were no longer showing on the maps or had been demolished. And when I finish, if you have any questions of each one of these, be glad to ask these folks. So for the assessment department, our big change this year was we had a retirement of our business and personal property appraiser. So Kelly Wiles moved from collections into that position. So just a few statistics on that. We send out 2,226 personal property listings. That's untagged vehicles, boats, camping trailers, things of that nature. 934 business personal property listings, or 934 businesses that list here in the county. And these must be processed from the 1st of January until April, getting ready for the budgeting process. So looking ahead, Kelly moved from tax collection to personal property. She'll begin her training on that this year. And the total assessed value of all personal property is $85.6 million. That's quite a bit of personal property to keep up with. In tax collection, we have Missy Smith, and then to replace Kelly, we have hired Jeff Chandler to fill the assistant tax collector position. He too will begin working toward his state-required certification in 2024. I bring you a report each month about the VTS, or the motor vehicle report, but we don't ever talk a whole lot about it. So I wanted to give you just some statistics on that. As of June the 30th, there were 15,318 registered motor vehicles in the county, with an assessed value of $166 million, which gives us collection of a little over $1 million. And the way this works is each month there is a file that we receive from DOT, and that's 90 days before you would receive your invitation to renew for your registration. And so with that, Jeff goes through this file, and he's looking for any values that stand out. You know, you have the same truck, but you have two very different values. You got to look and you got to figure out why. Or there's a query on there that vehicles come in with no value at all. So you've got to research that, send out a letter, figure out what that vehicle is, what kind of value should it have. And then you'll have to look at situs. Are they in the right fire district? Are they in the city? Are they in the town? So there's a lot of work that goes into those queries that come in every month before the state then again comes back and takes that file back out to prepare your registrations or your invitations to renew your tags. There's a lot of work that goes into that every month, and I don't believe I've ever really explained that in full to you folks. And then on the tax collection side, one thing I wanted to touch on is prepayment of property taxes. Historically, this was something the attorneys did when you had a real estate closing. But Missy and the collection staff has begun letting folks know that's something any of us can do. And it does help to make that burden a little bit easier. Instead of getting that tax bill for $1,000, if you want to pay $50 a month, $100 a month, you can do that. And so we've had more and more people start to take advantage of that. So that's something I don't believe I've ever talked a whole lot about here either, but that is available to taxpayers if they choose to do that. And the amount you have prepaid shows on your bill, so it shows you the balance that's due. So I think that's a very big help for some taxpayers. And then I ran a report for transactions by type, because we have a lot of people jokingly will say, oh, do you still take cash? And so I just was curious of what still is the most popular. So check transactions, still the most popular for our taxpayers, followed by cards, and then cash, and then we had a few others, or mostly mortgage companies. So check transactions by far still for your mortgage or your property taxes seem to be the most popular. And also the Kania Law Firm handles our accounts that we're unable to collect on, that we can't get a payment agreement set up on, or we just can't get in touch with the people who have gotten delinquent on their taxes. They handle many counties in the state's delinquent accounts. This year I referred 6 parcels. They have done 2 payment agreements, which go through them, and then they send the money to the county. There were 5 foreclosure sales conducted, none of which the county became the ownership of this year, so that was a good thing. And the amount of tax collected was $105,554. Typically, once you send this to Kania and they send out their letter, typically then people will either contact us and they'll pay it, or they'll set up a payment agreement, a lot of the times, the things that don't get paid are heir properties. And so your next slide, as you know, I still have to shout out about the tax office winning the Distinguished Joseph Hunt Small Jurisdiction Award. So this award is in recognition of a county or counties' achievement in areas of property tax assessment and collection, which have done something to enhance the overall effectiveness of the county tax department. So again, we're very proud of that, and that takes the whole staff in the office to accomplish something like that. And then the license plate agency got last, certainly not least. They're definitely the one with the most traffic. So that's made up of Candace Wagner and Veronica Riley. And so the report I ran, this was for the end of October totals, and this compensation to the county under the compensation column is what we receive from the state for providing that service. Audit score, as you can see, we've had 100. That's excellent. We can't do any better than that. A score less than that, they would deduct from our compensation for errors that we made. So we're very fortunate for our audit score. Then you have the number of transactions per month, the amount of notary fees we collect that are also for the county, and then our total compensation. So at the end of October, our total compensation was $51,405.69, which I believe is considerably more than when we started looking at this that we anticipated that being. We do have a lot of folks from out of the county that comes here to purchase their tags, so that's something I hear them talking about quite often. I'll be glad to answer any questions. Missy had to go on to lunch, but if you have anything about our pictometry project, Teresa was in charge of that, and if you have any questions about tag, I've brought Candace who could answer any question you might have about that.
John? Bill?
Thanks for all y'all do. I know it's popular people, but it's a job that has to be done. We appreciate it.
Rick? Jimmy?
No, just thank you, ladies, for what you do.
It's a great report. I think we've come a long ways in the last 10 years or 9 since I've been around. We've been together all that time, and we've seen a lot of changes upstairs, and we certainly appreciate everything y'all do. You keep the county running. That's the main thing. And we appreciate all the departments that you oversee, and you got a great staff of people up there. A lot of times people come in moaning and groaning, but usually they leave with a smile on their face. We appreciate that.
Very thankful for the staff that we have. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next is Veteran Service, Marge Gray.
Saving the best for last.
You said that.
And thank Miss Miranda, my new admin assistant, helping me hand out the paperwork.
You're her left hand today.
Yeah, I'm my left hand today. In your handout, basically what this is, I'm going to use a lot of acronyms, terminology and stuff, and this is just kind of an explanation of what they are, instead of taking up your time to explain it here. But as you know, as the accredited veteran service officer for Alleghany County, I advise veterans and their families on what benefits, rights, entitlements, and things that they may be entitled to, and I help them gain the information they need or pertinent documents, so on and so forth. So currently, I have 305 active records that I'm working on. This year, 97 of them are new. And of those 305 records, 48 of them are claimants, which are the family members that I'm in the process of helping. We lost 2 of our World War II veterans this year, so we're down to 1 World War II veteran left. And then next we have our Korean War veterans, and we currently have 34 of those in Alleghany County. So, according to the U.S. Census, 2018 to 2022, we have 767 plus or minus 1.4% veterans in Alleghany County. Now, on the last page of your report is GDX, which is, every year the Department of Veteran Affairs Office puts out this planning and publishes an annual GDX report, which is Geographic Distribution of VA Expenditures Report. What this is they break it down into different groups of either compensation and pension or educational, construction, any kind of loans, and for each county, for every state. In Alleghany County, according to the VA pays out benefits for 856 veterans to Alleghany County. And then you'll see the thousands of dollars, the total expenditures into Alleghany County that comes, this is monies the VA pays to veterans within Alleghany County, is $10.62 million, actually. So compensation and pension is only 6.4 of that. So this is to kind of give you a general idea. The veterans that I help, as I help these veterans, in turns brings income into Alleghany County. So I currently serve on several boards, Alleghany County Veterans Advisory Committee, the Council on Aging. I recently was asked to join NAMI High Country, which is the National Alliance of Mental Illness. I became a board member and then same day became a secretary for the board. So I'm also a member of the DSS multidisciplinary team. It's a team that was put together of key people within the county that we could work together. If we had, like they had trouble clients, we can kind of brainstorm and help them come up with some ideas for the difficult cases. I am currently a member of the American Legion Post, the Marine Corps League, and the Veteran of Foreign Wars Auxiliary. So I still maintain a liaison between the three organizations. I am accredited Veteran Service Officer for the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers, North Carolina Association of County Service Officers, and American Legion, VFW, and Disabled Veterans. One of the things that I did this year, the North Carolina Governor's Working Group come up with a program several years ago designed to help people that help veterans in whatever ways they are. You don't have to be a veteran service officer. You could be in any capacity, but as you work with a veteran as a client, they come up with a program called Veteran Support Specialist, which is where we get together and we talk about the resources that are available to everybody to help the veterans within our counties, or the veterans that we are working with. Basically what it was is I spent 3 months learning about all these resources that are available, and I found that a lot of these resources, Alleghany falls within their jurisdiction, but they're not in Alleghany County. So, as quiet as I am, I go to them and ask them, why are you not in my county? Well, we cover Alleghany County. I said, but I've never seen you there. So, and what a lot of the feedback that I get is that they do offer resources, but they don't basically have a place to come into the county to hang their shingle to be able to provide these services. So this is something that I'm looking forward to working on and seeing how we can change this and get these resources available. And it wouldn't be only for veterans. It would be other, for example, mental health. You know, we all need mental health in one way or another. So this would be a resource that would be available for all of us. I completed the certification in May, and I am really proud of that. Now, through these past couple of years, and a lot of the training that I have received, I've learned that there's veterans in rural communities that face unique challenges that limit their access to health care. Barriers such as long distance to facilities to get qualified providers can put rural families, veterans and their families at risk. The closest VA hospital for Alleghany County, for a veteran to go to a VA hospital, is 2 hours away. And veterans are at a particular risk for mental health struggles, with suicide rate that is 1.5 times higher than the overall U.S. population. There are 22 veterans that take their lives a day. This is not acceptable in my book. With this and the resources through the governor's working group, in 2017, the UNC School of Government launched a program called NC Impacts. I'm sure most of you have heard of it in some way or another. But it's a statewide initiative launched to help local communities use the data that is gathered and as evidence to improve conditions within their counties. This year they started a Cross 100s program. It's called Our State, Our Wellbeing, and the information is there on page 1 for you. So basically it's a 12-month initiative to identify and implement strategies to improve mental health and reduce the number of suicides within North Carolina. That Across 100s reached out and selected 15 counties to be a part of this initiative. Alleghany County was one of the counties that they accepted. With that, we were tasked with coming up with a team name. So our team name is Alleghany ACE, which is Active Community Engagement. The mission of our team is to reduce the stigma around mental health, engage and educate our neighbors, and prevent suicide through empowered connection and open conversation. We envision a community where mental health is provided or prioritized and every voice is heard. With this program, we are hoping to possibly reach out and maybe come up with some kind of community center, work with the county to come up with a kind of a community center where these resource agencies are going to have a place to come into Alleghany County and raise their shingle and be able to provide the assistance that's needed. So, NAMI High Country, I spoke on that briefly. That is a national alliance of mental illness. High Country is out of Boone, but we're working on trying to get enough interest, enough people to take the training to actually get a charter here in Alleghany County. And again, on your handouts are different trainings that NAMI provides. So, some of my accomplishments this year, I worked with Alleghany in Motion and Alleghany Cares, and we now have a Alleghany in Motion transportation that goes to the landings every Wednesday morning, picks up veterans and caregivers, takes them to the VFW to take part in the Veterans Breakfast, and then goes back and picks them up and takes them back. I'm in the process of trying to work with Lotus Village and get them on board and start taking the folks from there over as well. Moving forward, I've worked with the Senior Center and the 2 nursing homes in town, and I'm going to start working a couple hours every quarter out of their facilities so that I can reach out to the veterans and their families there. They don't have to come to the office. I would like to push forward and hire my administrative assistant full-time would be really nice. But that's part of my my plans moving forward is I know the biggest complaint that really the only complaint that I get from veterans is I'm hard to reach by phone. I'm the only one person in the office, and when I have somebody that's in the office with me, I'm not going to interrupt my veteran that I'm working with to answer the phone. It's disrespectful to them. So I'm working on getting a stand-down military. We called it a stand-down, which was one day we didn't do normal operations. We had trainings that we had to do, annual trainings and that kind of stuff. I want to try to get something like that going here at the Blacks Building. I tried to do it this fall, but other entities moved in where they got money and I wasn't paying any money for it. So the money people went out. So I got kind of kicked to the curb a little bit. But I'm in April hoping to be able to get a stand down and get some of those resources, at least get them started coming up into this community. So I've been working on and hopefully continue with ordering and new and replacing foot markers and headstones for veterans in the county that don't have them. And that's been a work in progress because I don't actually know everybody. So, and then in addition to what I do for veteran services, this year I took on local coordinator for the Special Olympics. We took some athletes to Raleigh for state games and to Charlotte for fall games, and we come home with ribbons and medals, and still a member of the Alleghany County Rescue Squad, EMT, and certified technical rescuer. Any questions?
John, questions or comments?
Just for a little clarification, that number does not reflect all of the veterans that are in Alleghany County. If a veteran is collecting educational benefits, a pension, or compensation from injury, they would be counted in that. But if we've got a veteran that came back and is not going to school, is not collecting anything from the VA, they wouldn't show up on this, would they?
Correct. Our snowbirds don't show on here either. If they are Florida, you don't have to pay taxes, so they're going to keep Florida as their primary, and they live 6 months here and 6 months there, but Florida showed as their primary, so that's where it shows the GDX is going to show their funds are going there. So,
but if they have a problem with the VA, they're coming to you, you are servicing them. I know that I have a former recruit that lives in New York. You assisted him and his family. You have done a great job in doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bill?
Thanks for all you do for the veterans.
Greg?
Appreciate what you do for
Jimmy?
A lot.
Look, I'm going to be nice to you.
For a change.
This board, we've got 3 veterans on the board. Look back 8, 9 years ago, we had a part-time veteran service officer in a basement at a different location. And help of a couple other commissioners that are not on this board right now, but it took me 2 years to get a full-time veteran service officer. Then we got you moved. We got the veteran service officer moved to this location. And we've had some very good veteran service officers in the past. And I don't know how to say this because you're in the Navy, but I guess I got to say you've done one hell of a job. Not going to find me saying that too often.
I picture on video now. So.
Well, they'll play it again and again, but you've done a great job for us.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it, and I guess you put up with me more than most people do, but you deserve it because you're in the Navy, and that's a part of the Marine Corps. But we do thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we're the men's department.
With that, go ahead.
If I could, Mr. Chairman, I know you're going to call for a break, but and I am sure that our audience is going to disappear. One of the things that I wanted to tell you, Civitas, which is a conservative-granted organization in the state of North Carolina, looks periodically, and they rate counties by efficiency. Alleghany County is always in the top 10%. They look at the number of employees versus county and things of this nature, and they come out with this rating. And that is a result of you and your performance doing your job. It's outstanding. We do a lot with less in this county. Don't complain about it. We just put you put your shoulder to the wheel and you get it done. Thank you.
With that, I would like to have about a 10-minute, Michael?
Now, don't hold your 10 minutes for a minute. Okay. I just want to say a couple things real quickly. Your audience today, this meeting, whether it's recognized or not, but this meeting today is in recognition and appreciation of your audience today. And your audience consists of your department head members, you've got some of their team members with them. And I know, and I've looked out there a couple of times, and I see a couple of them squirming because I know those seats are really comfortable. And they have sit through this today because they are a team. They are here to show that although they may have been first on the roll today, they sat through everyone's because they support each and every member of that team. And Commissioner Irwin, I know you said that they may disappear after this. I'm going to say they probably won't. I'm just going to say that. But maybe I know something you don't. But what I'm going to say is, today, like I mentioned, this is for you today. And we get into storytelling sometimes, and I'm not a huge storyteller because most of mine I wouldn't want repeated or aired for that purpose. But I will tell you that I've got 29 years of government in my pocket, and I've seen a lot of things. I've seen a lot of people. I've worked with a lot of people. I've enjoyed most of them. Some of them I haven't. But I will tell you that this group right here, when I came down here 4 years ago, and I got the stares, and I got the wonders, and I got the questions, I will tell you in 4 years, I've never seen a more educated, dedicated, or involved group than what you have right now. And people come and go. I mean, it's not a secret. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. At some point, everybody in this room is going to disappear for whatever the reason. I am very proud of the team that's been built here. I'm proud of the changes that have been made. Sometimes separations of employees are not a bad thing. And I know they're looked upon. I've told this group several times. And I think it's happened in the past. I think sometimes we just look for a warm body. We don't need to look for a warm body anymore. Warm bodies are a thing of the past. We are at that level. I tell them all the time in department head meetings, we are what others should measure up to. We need to set that bar. Well, today, I think with your audit presentation, which that kind of information is simply unheard of in any county in North Carolina, with your reports that you've seen, I can sit here and tell you guys that we are that bar. And a lot of times in our department head meetings, and they know it, it's kind of funny if it's not you, but if you show up late in a department head meeting, we clap at you. And we do that to recognize your tardiness and to give you something to smile about. Well, today, before we break, and I know everybody in these more luxurious chairs are very appreciative of it, but I'd like to stand up and clap at these guys for the reason they're here and what they do for this county. So if you join me, I would appreciate it. Now you can have your break.
Hold you 10 minutes.
Go ahead.
Actually, I want to add something to what Michael said, and this is, has to do with your all's presentation today. All the different things that we've talked about all year, some of the things we've worked through, some of the different things. So I've got to know all the departments, what everybody does, and while you all, when you stood up and you started your presentation, I had a couple questions I thought of things that related to some of the things we were working through. But your presentations were so well that those questions was answered before I had a chance to ask them. So I just want to commend you all of how good your presentations are. I mean, you, just as what Michael said, and it is true. We have a really well-rounded departments that knows what the heck they're doing, and that's something that I just want to say thank you for. So,
Thank you. Any other comments?
No, we all run a good department like that, it makes our job easier. We don't have to. The whole county does a good job. Every department does. We know things run right.
John, any last comments? Michelle?
You're a smart guy. And the reason I say that is because smart guys and good bosses hire good people underneath them to make them look good.
Well, with this face. So, thank you.
I think Michael has said everything this board, we appreciate everything that all the departments have done. And it couldn't have been done if one department was fighting against another. He was able to bring everybody together. He had a vision, and he surrounded himself with people that he knew could do a job, and they did that job. And I think, especially looking at the audit report, we've talked about it for a couple of weeks, and you know, that's just one of the great things. But looking at the people that work for the people of the county, you all deserve every bit of applause that you can get. And when you get up in the morning and look yourself in the mirror, you can say, I've done a good job. And I thank you for that. And with that, let's take about a 15-minute break, and we'll come back at 1 o'clock. Thank you.
You wasn't kidding about this.
11 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and reconvene. Next, we're at General Business, Section C, DSS lease, Michael Carter, and it's on pages 9 through 12.
Chairman, members of the board, you'll see on page 9 a recent request from the landlord of the original building that the Department of Social Services occupies, handwritten to Ms. Stacy Presnell, that identifies a desire to increase the rent effective January 1 of '24 to $4,500 a month. So Ms. Presnell passed that on to me and read through it, and Heather and I have looked at it, and you have a copy of the original lease agreement on pages 9 through 11, or 12, or 11, depending on which number you look at. And basically it comes down to this. The request was made, but under, I'll just read a couple of the pertinent information on the first page of the agreement. I remind the board that this is a 10-year lease, and this lease was signed the first day of July of 2018. So until 2028 of same date, you honor this lease. It talks about what, paragraph 2, it talks about what the lease will be, and that is specifically $4,100 a month. And it's for the term of the lease. And you can go on through the information, and Heather is the one that needs to speak legally, but from my innocent old eyes, there's nothing in here that allows for any type of increase. It does allow for the opportunity for extension, which we're not there yet, but there is nothing that allows for an increase other than a request, which of my recommendation is thank you, but we fall under this current lease, but I'll defer to Heather for that.
I don't think I could say it any better. It's exactly correct. There's no increase in the rent, no escalation clause, no addition. I think specifically for that to happen, it would have to be both parties would have to agree, because it would be an amendment for something that's not actually in the lease at this time.
So this item, of course, today is for information, but at your next meeting, it'll be on your agenda for consideration. So the board technically, since this is your lease, you need to make a decision and a ruling on how you want to move forward with it. That's all for it.
Any questions about this? Be moved to our January meeting for action.
Yes, sir.
Any questions, comments? Okay, thank you. Next.
Next item is the WCC lease, which we've talked about a few times now, and coincidentally on Friday of this past week, we had yet another meeting with Morgan Francis with Wilkes Community College. And the result of that meeting is that we anticipate an additional paragraph being added to the proposed lease to identify any type of capital improvements that they may be able to assist with as long as funding is available. And that type of language we hope will be added to the lease agreement, although Heather again has identified what statutorily we and they are responsible for. This would be an addition by Wilkes Community College. So with that in mind, I would ask that we just table this item until we receive such new lease with the appropriate language.
So if it's agreeable to the board, we'll go ahead and table this till we have some answers back from Morgan Francis at Wilkes Community. And I might add that I thought we had a very good meeting Friday, and he seemed very receptive to some of the suggestions. Okay, thank you. Now we move to Section D, General Business. These three items are for action. The first one being EMS line item transfer, April Ham, page 32.
Just have one request this morning. With the new ambulance, the radio equipment is costing a little bit more than anticipated, but we do have the availability of funds within the EMS budget due to staff turnover. So we're requesting $6,072 be transferred from health insurance to capital to fund the rest of that radio equipment. And I'm also requesting $1,277 be transferred from salaries to longevity. This was not budgeted in the original approved budget with the split with David Spicer's longevity pay.
Any questions, comments? If not, I need a motion.
To approve.
And a
Second. Second.
Okay, Daniel? Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed likewise? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
TDA, Michael Carter.
At a recent board meeting, I remind the board that the appointments to the TDA have occurred and are now in place. As each of you recall, the governing body is responsible for appointing the TDA chairman. We talked about this at a previous meeting. The item is now on your agenda for action, and I open the floor for nominations because that's what today is. You're nominating a chairman for the TDA.
Hey, I'd open, Timmy, you got a comment?
I move to nominate Steve Mason for another term.
Need a second? And we got a second? All those in favor of Steve Mason, remaining chairman of the TDA, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, raise your right hand. Motion carries 3-2. Thank you. Transfer facility, RFQ, Michael Carter.
Again, this is an item we've discussed. I think the majority of the board has visited the transfer facility and saw the damage and the disrepair of some of the supporting structures. What I would like to do, as I've indicated before, is ultimately construct a new transfer facility. So in doing such, I'd like to ask the board to allow me to put out an RFQ for such engineering firms to submit qualifications for that purpose so that we can begin that process as we enter into the budgeting season.
Thank you. You've heard the recommendation from Mr. Carter. We need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Daniel, you okay? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed likewise? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Moving right along, Section E, County Manager comments.
Chairman, I've got 6 pages today.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. So the first one is you have your building inspection report attached in your agenda on page 33. We are going to start looking at comparisons. I believe Commissioner Evans, you brought that up, so we're going to look at that in a couple of weeks. Again, I want to point out and appreciate our staff that provided information to us today and are the spokes that turn the wheel of this county. I just want to, again, recognize them for that. I want to take a minute to reiterate our closing schedule. All county offices will be closed Monday, December 25th through Wednesday, the 27th, and they'll reopen on Thursday, the 28th. The transfer facility, however, will only be closed on the 25th. So please, please remember that. It'll be open again on the 26th, bright and early at 7 a.m. The next thing I want to do is go back to the audit. I'm not sure if everyone understands exactly what the presentation means or represents. That's no disrespect. I just want to clarify. To basically achieve what Alleghany County has done in the last 4 years is simply unheard of. And if you look across the state of North Carolina, I am fairly confident you will not find another locality that has done what Alleghany County has done, regardless of shape, size, or population. That's important. And as April mentioned, each one of you will get a copy. It will be posted online. I know Chris is here. He'll get that thing up. So I guess what I would say to that is all the nitpickers that want to go through that thing online and look for items that they think are this or that, I'm going to tell you up front, you're not going to find them. That audit's clean. This staff is clean. And there's little use of trying to exhaust yourself and trying to find something wrong with it. In addition to that, we need to be mindful. And just because we've reached that plateau doesn't mean we need to start giving in and giving up. You know, when I came down here, one of the first items and probably the largest items that I was tasked with was trying to get the county back on its feet. And with today's presentation, I pretty much think I can mark that off my list. So that task, which was probably my largest task, I've now put a line through. Now what that means is either I've got opportunity for other things to happen or we'll look for other projects, but that'll be another day. Again, I'm very proud of our staff and what they do. Thank you all for weathering through this meeting. I'll tell you real quick, as soon as we adjourn today, we're going to take about an hour, department heads. We're going to be right back in here in these nice, comfortable chairs. So I appreciate your attendance, appreciate what you do. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We'll start down with Greg today. Any comments, Greg?
Just remember what I told y'all in the hall. I think y'all made Michael mad. He's going to keep you in here all day. Everybody have a good Christmas and appreciate what everybody does.
Jimmy?
Yeah, just pretty much said what I wanted, what was on my mind about everybody, head of departments, and it's like we've just been talking about all day, is without all of you, your staff, Alleghany County could not operate. A lot of folks out in the public do not understand what it takes. You know, we have a small county, we have a small group of people, but at the same time, if one of those departments goes south and they're not working, something's happened, the people will figure that out, that we got some problems. And that is something that as long as I've been here, we've not had problems in our staff. We've not had complaints about what goes on up here in the county, like what the day-to-day operations are. And we have all of you all to thank for that. And just want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas. Hope you all have some holiday time with your families and some well-deserved breaks. So that's all I got.
Thank you. Michelle?
I again want to thank you all for the great job that you do, and I wanted to make a comment that I was so glad to see so many people come out and register to run for office, because it's great to have choice. I applaud those who did that. Thanks.
John?
Yes, I have several comments. As Michelle has advised, the candidates are now in. what was revealed today is something that they're going to have to face. A lot of people do not realize that the Department of Social Services budget is larger than the county budget by 1/3, over 1/3. The amount of work that they do in this county is unbelievable. 24% of the residents, according to their report, it's an approximate, are on Medicaid. This is reflected at the food closet. The food closet for the last 2 weeks has been servicing 60-plus families a day for food. 60 families. And this is in addition to what the Department of Social Services is doing. It is something else on that. One of the things that is going to face us in the new year, and I would ask the county manager to liaison with the chair of the Alleghany Community TV. We now know that Skyline is going to give up their video service. It's not going to be serviced by Skyline, it is going to DirecTV. Now, we need to look and see how this is going to impact the Alleghany Community TV. We're going to lose access to that because DirecTV may not carry local channels. We're going to need to see how that's going to affect us on our PEG channels. So if you would give us a report on that at the next or in the near future, I would appreciate it. I believe this changeover will come into effect on November the 1st, according to what they have on their website. One of the things that I have done over the course of my life is kind of kept up with a few things. I have served with Israeli Defense Forces, trained with them, but I got smacked over the last week. On October the 7th, history was made, and we never realized it. Bobby, you'll be interested in this. On October the 7th, whenever the Israelis were attacked, a battalion of tanks was activated. And what makes this world-renowned and the first time in history that this has ever happened, Israel formed a tank battalion of all females. Battalion commander, there was only one male in that battalion, and that was a company commander of tanks. Called out, they took a platoon of tanks, put them on the road at 35 miles an hour. The Israeli tanks are 60-ton tanks. And this young lady, if you go on YouTube and you just put it in female tanks in Israel on October the 7th, you will see a young lady that may weigh 125 pounds with beautiful red hair down to her waist, talking about driving that tank towards a kibbutz in northern Israel that was under attack. And whenever she came upon the Hamas on motorcycles, she calmly says, "I saw them coming, so I ran them over." They get to the kibbutz, and they are attacked from a tree line. So the 20-year-old tank commander calmly machine guns the 50 Hamas fighters that were in the tree line. 2 tanks, 100 accounted for. And they are talking like they were on a picnic. No excitement, no nothing. Over the years in the Marine Corps, the Vietnam veterans would talk about in the early days whenever they were going up against the Viet Cong, the worst fighters that they ran into were the females because they were vicious. Now I believe it. You want to see what life is like in Israel? Go on YouTube and look at those ladies. The oldest one was 21 years old. Made the decision to put a tank at a break, and then she went into the kibbutz. It is sobering, ladies and gentlemen. What scares me, we now have 8 million undocumented workers, undocumented illegals in this country. China is flying in chartered aircraft, illegals that are coming through the border, all of them military-age males, and we have no idea where they're going. Reality may set in this country in the future. On that bright note, I will wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and thank you again, workers, for what you do for Alleghany County. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a few quick things. Merry Christmas to everybody in the county and a Happy New Year. I enjoy saying Merry Christmas. I don't believe in happy holidays. I'm a Merry Christmas type person. I've asked Danielle to try to put together a small list of people who could give the invocation at each one of our meetings. Moment of silence is nice, but there's nothing like having someone speak the word, the gospel to us. So I think Danielle's going to work on that for maybe our next meeting. The audit is unbelievable. I don't know how many different words you can use, but it's something that the whole county should be proud of. And like I say, we had a leader who had a vision, but also he was able to communicate that vision to the department heads and all the employees in the county. And along with that, to the people of the county, they also realized that we had to do something different. And I just have no words can say how happy I am with where we are financially. I hope we never go back the wrong way again. We've got a good group of people that work for the county, and we all work for the people of the county, so hopefully we can keep that going. I think there was a few reminder notes at the bottom of the page. December the 21st from 11:30 to 1:30. I think down here the Alleghany County employees will have a luncheon. Then on Monday, January the 2nd, we'll have a work session. Right now, it's the rules of procedure, code of ethics, and fire department. Those are.
And we'll add a rescue tax to that as well, requested.
Well, we'll have to see about adding those. We've got a pretty full one, but we'll see how many we can
Mr.
keep
Chair,
going.
prior to the meeting, I spoke with the county manager, and I requested that we move the discussion on the rescue tax to the information portion, because Rita has done some research.
It's mine.
She can provide the information, and that way we won't
We'll have to
overload.
see how much time we've got, but we'll work through that. We'll get something
I'll
on
go
that.
to the regular meeting.
I think with that, Timmy and I have a meeting tomorrow with the school system, and we'll let you know what comes of that at our January meeting. Without anything else, Heather, Danielle, no other comments, I'll go ahead and call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.